Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on Ubuntu channel. It's another Tuesday, a great Tuesday indeed. And this is debate time on Ubuntu channel. In case you have just tuned in or it's your first time tuning in, this is an online platform that gets to give you a chance to come through, be part of the program and share with us your different sentiments. Remember that Ubuntu is all about all of us. I am because we are. On debate time, I am your host, Lance Banda. And of course, this evening we have a great, exciting topic that we are debating on. This is the second edition since we introduced this particular program right here, which will be coming every Tuesdays at 21 hours. Apologies for bringing it a little bit late. Now, this is due to circumstances beyond our control. As you know, internet challenges are always here and there. Now, for those of you that are joining for the first time, make sure that you get to share and also like our post, like this broadcast, share it with your friends, like our Facebook page, follow our YouTube channel, and also like our Twitter channel right here. Now, today on the platform, I have with me Socialist Party member, that is Comrade Chrispin Chiinda. Mr. Chiinda, good evening and welcome to Debate Time on Ubuntu channel.
Thank you very much for hosting me. This is the first time I'm participating in this on this platform. I'm delighted and I'm happy to be here.
All right, and of course, among the discussants, we also have Mr. James Banda. Now, he appeared in the debut of our program as we were discussing the role of our youths being given major roles as far as leadership is concerned. Due to popular demand from you, our viewers, and of course everybody else, we had to bring him back so that at least we get to have or get to tap into his wisdom. Mr. Banda, good evening and welcome back to Debate Time.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to all the discussants, and good evening to the viewers out there, and hoping to have a very fruitful discussion this evening. Thank you.
All right, so also on the platform, we have a PF member or Patriotic Front member, that is Chanoda Ngwira, who will be joining us. And then also not forgetting, we have from the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND National Youth Chairperson, that is Gilbert Liswaniso, popularly known as General Mosquito, also joining us later on as we discuss how can Zambia develop. Now, we all know that the development of Zambia is one goal that each and every Zambian must have, despite their different backgrounds, despite which political party you are coming from, despite whichever organization that you are representing. This is what we want to discuss, or these are the issues that we want to talk about. How best can we develop Zambia? Now, by definition, development is the process of growth or change from one condition to another. In economics, development is change from traditional economy to one based on technology. Now, panelists, from this definition, I would like us to first take a hint on traditional economy, because we know that economics is one major part into the development of the country, and traditional economics is usually encounters on individual survival. Families and small communities often make their own food, clothing, housing, and household goods. Therefore, the economics of developing countries, which have largely traditional economies, often rely on agriculture. Zambia is a developing nation, and according to this definition, we are depending largely on agriculture. Is agriculture the way to go in developing Zambia? I'll start with you, Comrade Chiinda.
Thank you very much, and once again, thank you to you, the people that are watching us and following us on this platform. Yes, you know, a socialist party, or indeed socialist government, we are looking at what is affecting our economy. Our economy is suffering on two fronts. Indeed, this is the economic front and also the social front. So when you look at economic development, we also want to look at the social development. The social development of it is that we need to look at the living standard of our people, improving how we are going to improve the living standard of our people. The living standard of our people, mainly in social sector, we are affected by, we need to ensure that our people have access to affordable foods. Our people have decent shelter. Our people have access to education. Actually, we seek to provide or to continue providing free education because this is a socialist policy. We also need to look at the clean water, providing clean water to our people. So in doing this, we know that we need to look at a viable economic production industries that we can establish, that can be in our hands, so that those production industries, we are able to produce goods that we can sell. And after raising that revenue, we can now improve our social sector. This is what we are looking at as the socialist, because socialist is standing at equity, is standing at justice, is also standing at peace. So we as Zambians, we need to be united in those lines. And we as Zambians, as socialists, we want to encourage our people to work very hard. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for that. Remember, just a kind notice to our panelists right here. Each panelist will be accorded 5 minutes to debate or to express their view on the motion that is always raised on the table. And you can also get to counter-react on what you feel your fellow discussant has failed to give out quickly. Now, Mr. Chiinda, I want us to come to this. In development, modern day development, or if we want to talk about development, we have been taught that traditional kind of economics is what is supposed to be harnessed. Obviously, that gets to lead into what we are calling agriculture, a country depending on agriculture produce, maybe a country depending on harnessing the means of production. What is the way to go if Zambia is supposed to develop?
Yeah, so as Socialist Party also, we want to look at how we are going to support our peasants. Our farmers need to produce enough food for themselves, and they need to be supported by government. When they produce enough food for themselves, the surplus can be sold so that they can raise some money for the next production. As a country, we also need to invest a lot in agriculture. We need to have each province a state farm or state farms that will produce enough food. In different provinces of our country, we have good soils for certain crops. Let's say in Western Province, we need cashew nuts plantation or production to be done from there. In Mwinirunga, we want a plantation for pineapples. In the Northern Province and Wapula, we want to do a production for cassava. In Central Province, we want tomato production and also mixed with maize. In Eastern Province, we were looking at the production of groundnuts, sunflower, to do the cooking oil, and also the sweet potatoes from there. I've seen on the market, there's a lot of watermelons now. So we need also that to be produced in mass. So production really is our food basket. We need to produce enough food. Muzi wachengati muntu alina njala. Muntu ana njala angashite very vons. So we don't want to keep our people with hunger. We want our people to be hardworking, and we want to encourage our people, particularly the peasant. We want our peasants to be supported so that they can produce enough food. Because when they have food in their homes, what is remaining is just supplementary from government. So we want to encourage such to be happening. So production will also grow our GDP as a country, because we will be able to have surplus to export to other countries so that we can raise more revenue. And that revenue that we are raising is supposed to go to our social sector, such as health, education, and also supporting our people that are doing business. So we want, as socialists, we really want to see to it that our GDP is raised, and we want to make sure that our production industries are also in our hands. This is what we want, because ours is focusing on local productions and finding local solutions to our challenges. We don't want to look elsewhere for our challenges. We know that the challenges that we are going through as a country, we have the solutions within here, and I know that we can manage to do that.
All right. Thank you so much. Due to network challenges or due to network, we seem to be having challenges with Mr. Ngwira as well as Mr. Banda. Mr. Ngwira, good evening. Welcome to the program, if you can get. All right. Mr. Ngwira still seems to be having network problems right there. But Mr. Banda, let me come to you. Okay, go on as well. Mr. Ngwira, good evening. Okay, I bet.
Yeah, good evening.
Well, anyway, we are trying by all means with
Hello,
the technical
can you hear
team. Yes, now we can hear you.
Comrade Chiinda, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Good to see you. Looks like we have a serious network issue.
Definitely, we seem to be having serious.
Can you hear me? I don't know.
Okay, can you hear me? Mr. Ngwira, can you get me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, great. Good to have you on the program, and thank you so much for coming back. All right, so we were talking about the definition of development, which is defined as the process of growth or change from one condition to another. Now, in economics, development is change from traditional economy to one based on technology. And a traditional economy usually counters on individual survival. Families and small communities often make their own food, clothing, housing, and household goods. Now, the economies of developing countries such as Zambia, which have largely traditional economies often rely on agriculture. The question is, or the motion on the ground to debate on is, does Zambia really need to depend on agriculture if it is to develop as a growing, developing nation? This is to you, Mr. Ngwira. Okay.
Was that my question?
Yes.
Okay, I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me now clear? All right. Now, yes, much as we appreciate the agriculture component when it comes to.
Well, okay. Sadly, Mr. Ngwira has left us, but however, we will make sure that our technical team gets to work on that or get to work on these internet issues that we are facing so that we can be able to have our participants back and obviously get to talk about or get to debate on different issues that we are discussing right here. Mr. Liswaniso, good evening and welcome to Debate Time on Ubuntu channel.
Good evening, moderator there. Good also evening to my colleagues there. Thank you very much. Sorry for coming late. It's like I forgot about the program was ambushed, Lance, but please forgive me.
Well, the fact that you are here, at least we are able to accept your apology. Now, let's get to the program. Since we are discussing the development of Zambia or how can Zambia develop, agriculture has been singled out, especially for developing nations, to be one of the key factors that would help in development of the country. I would like us to debate on this motion. Is agriculture really the key for a country to develop? Let's start with you, Mr. Banda, if you are still here with us. Mr. Banda, are you here? Mr. Ngwira, you can pick it up. Is agriculture the key for us to develop?
Yeah, so I was saying, much as I think of late, agriculture has proven, to be one of the major earner for our economy. Zambia is basically vulnerable. Depends on where we can survive from, which angle we can survive from. But suffice to say, I think agriculture, as things stand now, is proven, to be one of the major earners to eat every day. People, would want to have at least a meal, in the morning, at lunch, as well as in the evening. And for, members, like my brother, I won't mention the name, they like eating a lot almost every time. So indeed, if as a country, we are to, remove our dependence on our copper or rather mining and concentrate much on issues to do with agriculture, the market out there is quite, lucrative. The market out there is quite promising, and the market out there is actually there. So I'll give an example of Congo. Congo is not a farming, nation. Congo is largely a mining nation, and because of that, they depend on neighboring countries when it comes to, foodstuff and the like. And so Zambia is, placed at a very strategic, area, because it can supply to Congo, it can supply to Angola there, it can supply actually in Zimbabwe, though Zimbabwe is one of the greatest hubs when it comes to agricultural products, So yes, I want to agree with you, Lance, that I think agriculture, apart from, many other, issues that can help our economy, is one of the major anchors when it comes to development. Because look, we've had issues of mining from time immemorial, even before we got independence. I don't think our minerals, have helped us so much. And these are things that are actually not renewable. Once we mine them, then they go and they go for good. But when it comes to agriculture, that's a renewable resource. You do maize today, you finish, the next season you can do maize again. So yes, in a nutshell, I would agree with you to say I would want to appeal to the UPND government. Comrade Liswaniso is here, their national chairperson, and obviously he interacts with President President Hakainde Hichilema. He interacts with the Minister of Agriculture and all that. Sorry, I'm used to my greatest president. Sorry. Yeah, so I think Comrade Liswaniso can take this message, to Bali and all other stakeholders in government, that I think let's invest much into agricultural issues. Thank you for now.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ngwira. General Mosquito, let me come to you. Is agriculture the way forward if Zambia is to develop as a nation?
Thank you very much, Lance, and also my colleague Chanoda Ngwira, that I agree with him that agriculture today, as we stand as a nation, any country today that are talking about the agriculture itself, that can bring food on the table and also to create a lot of employment among especially us the young people. What we need is to ensure that the means of agriculture, and sometimes I think I'd shared with some people that the means of sports, which we are talking about empowering the young people, we're supposed to have a deliberative policy that this ministry, every ministry in our country, should have a component of youth empowerment. That is including now the Minister of Agriculture had been given something which will depend to the young people themselves, so that at the end of the day, most of us, we can go back to the land. Number one, the land of this country has the potential. Many times we have said that 70% of water in this country is in the southern region. I think we have something we can share and even boast across Africa, that the land in this country is fertile to do agriculture, to do farming. So what we need now, it's young people ourselves now. How do we access opportunities from the government? That's why I've been proposing now that we should have a direct message, or the president to give direct through the cabinet PAs to say, can we have these things in this ministry, especially the Ministry of Agriculture, to say that what are the things do we need to say the young people can go back to the land, the people, the women, and everybody, so that we can now develop this country. Chanoda Ngwira was talking about the issue to do DR Congo there, and we have seen our president going there to open a door there for the people, that whatever we have in this country can go and export to that country. So all we need for sure is to put our heads together, is to support the president himself, and his ministers, and also bring out issues, especially as Chanoda Ngwira, because now is in opposition. It is his role now to bring out issues which are supposed to help this government. The way he's criticizing, the way he's doing checks and balances, we want to hear more from him, because sometimes we may sleep ourselves in government, but from them now on the ground, because they are the one now speaking for the masses. They are talking for the voiceless. Now, when you're talking for the voiceless, now you go deep down. What are the people talking in the rural area? Because the empowerment of a rural area, for sure, is to do with the empowerment. It's about agriculture itself. Okay, what are the needs do they need in rural areas that the government can implement now through the Ministry of Agriculture? So we need to use these offices now. Chanoda will not agree with anybody in the government, but through this platform, when they are coming in this platform, we want to hear more from them so that we can translate what they're talking about to the ministers, so that we can develop this country. So for sure, Lance, I can tell you that to develop this country, we need to put a lot of money into agriculture. You can see that we can change it within 3, 4, 5 years. Because even voting out of any government, they're talking about the food. People are complaining today. We are, all of us, we know as UPND, the things are not okay. Every day. Even business, I'm sorry I'm using this language because all of us are able to understand a rural part that for us to survive, anybody to work extra hard, somebody to do any job, he has to eat. You can do whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, you need to put food on the table. Meaning business to do with eating. It's a viable business. It's a business which is going, you can see even the restaurant wherever we are going, makeshift, wherever we go, it's about talking about food, it's about eating. So when we invest more into agriculture, meaning we're developing the country. When we put more resources in agriculture, young people are being
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gilbert Liswaniso there from the UPND. Now, let me also take this time, panelists, to get to remind you of the rules. So each participant will be given 5 minutes to debate a motion that is put across for you to at least express a view, a concern, and stress out that point which you need to stress out. Only 5 minutes is given to each participant. However, if you feel that you want to come through and also react to your fellow panelists' comment, please feel free to do so, as we are encouraging that. We are all here for the better development of Zambia, despite different political parties that each and everyone is coming from. Comrade Chiinda, I will allow you to come back, because when you were stressing your point, our two comrades were not here to get your point. Is agriculture the way to go if Zambia is to develop?
Yes, thank you once more. Agriculture, and when we talk about development, the major stake in development is agriculture. Firstly, I would want to define what development is. According to our understanding, is that development is the improvement to meet the people's needs at all levels. And in meeting the people's needs on all levels, we are looking at the social and economic development. And the social and economic development, mainly we are looking at the social sector. And the social sector, we are looking at the social needs. What are the social needs? We are looking at, is the food available for our people? Is the shelter, decent shelter available for our people? Is education, health available accessible to our people? So in trying to improve this, we have to look at economic development. And economic development simply means, or economy itself simply means an action in the production of goods and services. So in producing goods and services, mainly we are looking at the agriculture sector, because when our people are encouraged to produce more food, they will be able to produce food for themselves. The surplus can be sold to government or can be sold to whoever they want, because it's a free market, and they make surplus money. The money that we can make also as government is that we have to bring it back and invest in or improve our social sector, which is health and free education. So agriculture indeed is supposed to be encouraged by all governments that comes, and that as government also we need to invest a lot in agriculture. We need to have in all the provinces production industries. I talked about Western Province. We need to have cashew nuts production. In Northwestern Province, we need to have pineapple production. In Northern and Wapula, we need to have cassava production. In Eastern Province, we need to have groundnuts and sunflower production, so that we can also give value addition and start producing cooking oil from that side, from groundnuts and also sunflower. We also need to encourage the production of maize, because maize is our staple food. In Central Province, we can also do some tomatoes. So we just need to encourage agriculture in all areas, in all the provinces of this country. We need to encourage to do that. Ours as socialists, actually, we are looking at how do we support the peasant. We need our peasant farmers to be supported fully so that they can produce enough food. Just like my brother has said, Comrade Liswaniso, muntu ana njala, sunga mu angashite vili vonse. Muntu amene ana njala, yeah, ungampase lero, but nanga mairo njala akamvera mairo futi. So you need to look at the root cause. You need to look at how do we sort out this problem. And as a country, we are a developing country. I agree with my comrade Ngwira. It's a developing country. And as a developing country, we need to look at we need to look at our people and encourage hard work amongst our people, particularly the peasants. And also, we also need to look at how do we encourage people that are doing business so that we have these economic activities everywhere. And the goods and services must be available on the market so that from the surplus money they are making, we need to access many other things that we need on the market. Actually, I can say majority of the things that we need in our lives, they are all coming from the soil, all coming from agriculture. Most of the things that we need, because even if we talk about the soap that we use, it's also coming from the soil through agriculture. I've seen our women that are making soap through moringa tree. Moringa tree has to be grown. We've seen the cooking oil. Cooking oil is coming from groundnuts, sunflower, coming from agriculture. So agriculture is the engine of the economy, and agriculture is actually everything, because we need to eat. We eat every day. So really, agriculture is something that we need to look at, and how we can make sure that we do that. I want to tell my brother also, Comrade Ngwira, that you see, we cannot give up on copper. We are known as a copper producing country, and we have also named our copper bullets, our boys as copper bullets, and all these.
Chiinda, your time is up. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Since I've been mentioned, I can react to what comment Chiinda just
Yes.
said.
I haven't finished my point.
Remember,
let me finish my point so that my brother can.
You only have 5 minutes.
Can I finish so that? Okay. All right. I will continue.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, Comrade Lance, is that I didn't say that we should basically get rid of mining. No, definitely we can't, because I think we have the natural resources that are quite available. But what I was saying is that I think we must not, consider mining to be the main earner of our economy. Instead, I think we need to continue from where the Patriotic Front government, ended, where they empowered the farmers through FISIP and many other deliberate, programs under Minister of Livestock and all that. So basically, we can't stop the mining activities. But what I was saying is that we understand that the mining activities, that's a non-renewable resource. But when it comes to agriculture, we are assured of, doing the same thing even the following season. So I wanted to clear that with my comrade Chiinda, to say, I did not say we should literally stop. We have to continue with
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll come to that motion, the issue of raw materials. That is a part of our agenda, because in developing a nation, there is really much that is needed. But still on agriculture, more than 55 years of Zambia since independence, we have been talking about agriculture as a major sector to develop the country. Where are we falling as a country to develop, using this agriculture? History has it that all these developed countries have used agrarian economies. So now, where is the problem? We have been using agriculture, but we are still at the same place. We are still stagnant. We have talked enough about agriculture as a driver for economic growth. Why are we failing to implement the good policies of agriculture? So if really agriculture is a key component in developing the nation, why do we only talk and we fail to implement? I'll start with you, Mr. Ngwira, because you are the immediate past government.
I'll be honest with you. It's not that we have failed per se. When you look at the the PF manifesto, the way it was structured when it comes to issues of agriculture. I think, first of all, we wanted to, make that peasant farmer to become a commercial farmer in a way. How did we, plan to do that? I think we introduced a thesis, like I said. We needed to empower, that farmer in Chasefu, that farmer in Munali, that farmer in Chongwe, that farmer in, Chifunauli and all that, by, giving them a base. How do we give them a base? Subsidizing, agriculture inputs, where a farmer only pays about 400 kwacha and gets, maybe 2 bags of fertilizer or more, or through cooperatives and all that. So that stage, once it passes, it means we have now basically empowered and made, a farmer, a peasant farmer, realize the profits, or rather the gains that are in the agricultural sector. And our plan was to actually, continue by making sure that as a nation, either through ZNS, through Zambia Army, or through the Ministry of Agriculture itself, change certain policies where as government, we own, certain enterprises like farms at commercial level. Because if as a country, we have, for instance, a farm in Nyimba, where Comrade James, comes from, there's a lot of land there. We have maybe another farm in Chasefu, where I come from. We have another land, maybe pieces of land, from all the constituencies as government. One, that will create employment for the Zambian people. Then secondly, it will also improve when it comes to, a reservoir of good food. We will not run out of maize or agricultural products, thereby making the country to be stable in terms of, dealing with the hunger situations in the country. And yes, like I said, all these initiatives, can be adopted by the UPND government. And obviously, after their 5 years is done in 2026, as PF, working together with the other politicians, of course, the Socialist Party, as they wait to come and form government in 2040 something, we are able, to, galvanize these ideas and have the Zambian people benefit. It is our desire as PF that once we come back to government again in 2026, which is an obvious case since this UPND has failed, and also Comrade Dimembe is coming on well, but it needs to be trained in a way. I think they are still growing as a party. We need to give them the next 15 years or so for them to, come up with better issues. So we are going to continue with those good policies to see to it that the Zambian people benefit, to see to it that there's no, much of a peasant farmer. Each farmer is definitely going to be a commercial farmer in a way. How do we also help, this sector to grow? By, talking to, the Congo government, just like the president, the current president, though I did not, see much of, emphasis on agriculture. He just talked much about minerals and all that, and also the idea of exchanging cows and all that. That was what took center stage. But as PF, we're in the process of wanting to engage our colleagues from Angola, our colleagues from, Congo, and also the neighboring nations. What is it that they're lacking in their country? And what is it that we have in this country in terms of agriculture products that we can provide and also, give them in exchange with money? And that also definitely would, the end result would be also strengthening of our forex and all that. So indeed, Comrade Lance, I want to tell you that Zambia is poised for, greatness. Zambia can actually pay debt through agriculture, much as we are also, concentrating on, mining and all that. But I can assure you that, like Comrade Chiinda said, we are a country that can sustain itself through agriculture. For as long as we have got serious people to govern this nation, not people that keep on just talking about Socialist Party, people that just keep on talking about PF. No, we need a government, we need leaders that can, open up the minds of agriculture, activities, in the people out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ngwira. Comrade Chiinda, let me come to you. We have spoken so much about agriculture. 55 years since independence, Zambia continues being a developing nation, and we say agriculture is an integral component of developing Zambia. Why are we still stagnant when we know that agriculture is a right component? And we have seen regimes come and go. We still talk agriculture. Nothing seems to be working.
Yeah, I think for me, I need to also commend former President Edgar Lungu for the policies that he left in place. I know that there was a project of cashew nuts production in Western Province that was started. I know that there was also this pineapple production that was started. I know that there was also cassava production that was started. The only problem I've seen in this country is that whenever there's a new government that comes in, they want to start things all over. They don't want to continue what their predecessor has left. They don't want to do. There's no continuity amongst ourselves. But above all, before politics, we're all Zambians, and we want to see to it that Zambia develops. We want to see that our GDP grows. We want to see to it that we need to be leaving a legacy, and we need to continue good things. We need to continue them. But I think our politics has also contributed a lot in trying to be stagnant or to be at the same level for many years now. But I think there's a bright future. I don't want to politic, but a Socialist Party, we are focused on looking at how are we going to promote agriculture by supporting our peasants. How are we going to improve our agriculture by making sure that we have government farms in all the provinces. We need to have government farms in all the provinces. We need to seek production industries in all the provinces. We want to talk about also the marijuana, that is agriculture. Medicinal marijuana is something that even the policies there, it went through parliament, everything is on advanced stage. That one, we can earn foreign exchange from it when we put our efforts to growing marijuana for export. And the money that we realize from there can also help our people, our peasants, to grow more crops. And also, we also need to encourage our people not just to grow maize, but also to grow different crops such as soybeans, groundnuts, sweet potatoes, and many other things. We need to encourage our people to do that, because where we are coming from, tenzoziwa che milisi kuti mukankhala naka farm ni kulima che milisi chabe, then milisi all the time is milisi. We know it's our staple food, but I think we have done a lot of maize. But of course, we need to maintain certain farms for maize, but we also need to do soybeans and these other crops. So we need to encourage that. And also, as a party, as Socialist Party and any other party, I think what we need to do, or what we need to look at, is that let us have this continuity mentality that we should have. Let's not discard everything that our friends started now because you don't want to be affiliated to that, then you want to do away with it. I think continuity must be there for the good things. I'll tell you, if this government continues with cashew nuts production in Western Province, I think we can also create jobs from there. If we continue with cassava production in Northern Province, we can create jobs from there. If you continue the plantation of pineapples in Northwestern Province, we can also create more jobs from that side. then we just need to do value addition. What we don't want or what we don't like in socialist policies is that anything that we see where it is economically viable, we want to bring in an investor. We need to do away with such things. We need to own our own production as Zambians. When we own our own production as Zambians, we will be able to raise enough revenue for our country. We'll be able to have a lot. When we have something in Eastern Province, a production in Eastern Province, the money that we realize from there, we'll be able to invest in our social sector. We'll be able to improve our social sector. We'll be able to support the free education. At the moment, we have a very good policy of free education, which is very good because education is supposed to be accessible to everyone, regardless in society. And it must be sustainable. It must be supported. We cannot depend on borrowing. We cannot depend on money that is coming from IMF or any other donor that is giving to us. We are supposed to raise our own resources to support the education sector. Our health needs to be supported from agriculture, from what we are growing from agriculture. Health, we are talking about marijuana production. That is agriculture as well. We are supposed, the money that we are raising from that production, we're supposed to support our health sector. So agriculture is everything. We just need to make sure that the government that is there in place, we invest a lot in agriculture. We invest a lot of our people, and we need to avoid bringing up investors all the time. We need to own our own our production. When we own our own production, I'm telling you, Nancy, that we're going to raise enough revenue from this sector and be able to improve our social sector in the where it is. So social sector, there's a lot because all of us, we depend on it. We depend on our social sector. We need decent houses for our people. We need access to food. Ngati talima maningi vakudya vonse vizankhala full per market, vizachipa no cheaper. But if we don't invest in our agriculture, we cannot start importing foods from other countries. Some of us have gone to these other countries. So madiana nsima, and then ukumbwa no kumbwa, upeza tu nkala 1 week. So we Ghanese nsima, it's because of the Zambian in us. Kuti zona ni teko cheka nsima, but there's a variety of food that you can eat. So I'm also looking forward for a day where I have variety of foods that I can eat, so that nsima stika ko maningi nzetu. But at the moment, we know shima is our staple food, and all of us tifuna cheka nsima so that tajao kan nsima de singa pite no jao kan nsima. But in agriculture, when we grow enough crops, we'll be able to have a variety. We can choose what we want. So we need the government that will be responsible in that. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Your time is up. Hopefully, Mr. Banda, you are back. And if you are, good to have you back. But I am going to start you up from another level of the debate, since we have already passed the other part. Now, to our viewers that are watching us, remember that this is debate time on Ubuntu channel. This is the second edition. We have shared the link with you on the comments box. You can be able to come through, join us in the studios, ask your questions, share a view, share your sentiments, or share a comment on what we have discussed so far. Remember that you only have 90 seconds for you to react to everything that has been talked about right here on this platform. Better still, you can send us a message and we'll be glad to read that message from you. Now, as we are waiting for people to join us in the studio, I want to start with you, Mr. Banda, if you are still here. Developing countries mostly rely on raw materials, which can be traded to developed countries for finished goods. Now, these raw materials include oil, copper, coal, timber, etc., etc. We have talked about agriculture. Does Zambia need to diversify from agriculture going into the dependence of raw materials if we are to see it develop and move from the tag of developing nation? Over to you, Mr. Banda.
Well, thank you very much. And sorry for joining in a bit late. The dependence on raw materials and the issue of diversification from agriculture to exporting raw materials is one and the same thing, if you ask me. At the end of the day is something that is can be tagged as raw materials. Farming sector to diversify is to go into value addition, for example. So my fellow discussant, Mr. Chiinda, spoke about the pineapples and the other cash crops that he had spoken about. Why can't we go into production of juices, for example, step it up a little bit, a notch a bit, where we can produce juice, we can produce fine products or value addition to these products, which will be branded and which will fetch on a much higher value to actually benefit our farmers. Now, talking about the raw materials, steel, timber, and raw cobalt and raw copper, raw diamonds, emeralds, for example, we don't have diamonds, and raw gold. Why not diversify from that? Because we've been doing that for a long time. How long have we had mines in this particular country, and the development aspect of it and the benefit from these raw materials that are being exported out there to the Western world are not seen up to now? 50 years down the line, we are still exporting raw materials. We need to move away from the thought of exporting raw materials and move into a thought or an attitude of adding value to every raw material that we have. Okay. To do certain things like to produce gold chains and the like, but if we start and move and invest into that direction, then we are going to see tangible development and tangible benefits for our people from their raw materials. The next thing that I must say here and emphasize is that the agriculture has had a lot of investment in the past 50 years by different governments, from the FISIP that we have peasant farmers out there, but we have been doing it haphazardly because we haven't been investing the knowledge and the know-how into these farmers. I would want to believe that the initial reason and goal for the FISIP was to empower the farmers and get them from being peasant farmers into commercialized farmers. How can they commercialize themselves if they don't have the know-how on how to run commercial farms, for example? So we have been doing it haphazardly. There is half empowerment here and there is no empowerment. I would want to echo here also that the most important empowerment that a human being or this country needs is the skills in the mind and the mindset change. So let me also elaborate it a little bit like this and go to the root cause of why I think and I feel and understand that we are here where we are. If you look at the base, which is our education system system is silo. It's silo in a sense that it only teaches more on the academics. There is no TVETs, the technical aspects of skills in our students is lacking. And I would want to advocate for that, because what that does is that when you, for example, you complete your grade 12, you have the technical skills, the TVETs with you, you'll be able to create employment. We are talking about how can Zambia develop in this aspect. You understand? So how can someone enhance a raw material into a value-added product to sell if there isn't that skills imparted in them from the word go? The goal for Zambia is should be holistic in terms of development. So develop in the mindset, develop in the people, first of all. The first investment should be in our minds so that we can move with everything moving with us, not leaving something behind, and then you hope to develop in that aspect. The issue of, for me, the issue of exporting raw materials doesn't come to play. We need to move away from that. The issue of agriculture diversification should be value addition.
Thank you so much. Your time is up. I would love to come to Mr. Ngwira for one simple fact. The PF regime really did so much, obviously, in the production of copper and all these raw materials. It was obviously a backbone for the development of the country. However, Zambia is still underdeveloped, or should I say Zambia is still a third world country. Mr. Ngwira, should Zambia continue depending on raw materials if we are to move from the tag of developing nation?
Basically, I think just like Red Linso said, oh, sorry, Mr. James Banda has said, we must not even start talking about these issues of raw material. Obviously, you understand just the word itself, raw. When something is raw, means it has no value. When something is raw, it means in terms of its importance, it's not up to the crescendo, or rather the peak. The Patriotic Front government indeed had a lot of, in short, it endeavored, to push the agenda of value addition, and we were getting there. But the challenge, also with democracy, is that many things, many ideas tend to die at the change, at the point where there's change of government. The regime change has brought in a lot of, issues. A lot of things have been on a standby. Just like Comrade Chiinda earlier on alluded to. When the UPND government formed, or rather came into office, they stopped almost, or they have stopped almost all those projects, the pilot projects that the Patriotic Front, was doing. You talk of Under Minister of Livestock. The Patriotic Front was empowering these cooperatives and the women especially, and the youths, with live chickens, with live, stock, in short, cows, you talk of cattle, you talk of goats, I know so many other things. But our colleagues, thought that, no, that was just a political ploy and all that. Now, if it is a good political ploy, why not continue with it? The cashew nuts project that Comrade Chiinda alluded to, is it in the Western Province? Yeah, I think so. Look, if that project or those issues were still to continue, trust you me, today we're going to be talking about something different. I think I would want also to echo what my brother Banda said. Look, we are tired of exporting raw maize, either to Malawi, Congo, or wherever. I think the idea of, first of all, adding value to the maize by obviously making flour, making feed, stock feed, making mealie meal, and all these other products. Trust you me, we are able to actually gain more. You'd find that a 50 kg of maize, which is supposed to fetch maybe around 500 kwacha, if you put it into a chigayo, or you make mealie meal out of that 50 kg, you're going to realize maybe a 25 kg of breakfast mealie meal, a 25 kg a roller meal. You talk of maybe another 25 kg of zit gaga or something, So once you get those products and you take them to Congo, my time seems to be running so fast. Once you take such and you take them to, Congo, you agree with me that the amount will not be as and when it is just raw. Even these, our little minerals that we still have in the country, you would find that taking copper the way it is cheaper. But when we make copper wire, we make steel and all that, you'd find that, the price is going to be, higher. We have gold now in this country. They have got quite a number of deposits of gold. Why don't we process such and make, for instance, Comrade James Banda likes, rings, chains, and all that, nose rings and all that. We use that gold and, process it and export it. I know Comrade Chiinda is not so much into rings and these necklaces, but we have musicians like him, Banda, that would want to put on those things. And that is value addition. So the politics, believe you me, have brought us where we are today. Zambia would have developed a long time ago. But unfortunately, we have brought in politics and we affect innocent people like Comrade Banda. If we are to live as a country and just behave normally, without looking at politics, without bringing in politicking and all that every time that government change, believe you me, we cannot be where we are today. But politics has killed us. Political, vindictiveness, political show-off, political competition, it has really killed us. It has made us, I'm asking for one more minute to be where we are. So believe you me, we are messed up because of us politicians. So Lance, don't even go anywhere. Us, me, and Comrade Chiinda and Liswaniso have destroyed this country because we feel that when the time for Chanoda is up, Comrade Chiinda comes in, Comrade Chiinda has to erase everything that Chanoda was doing. It's not good. It's not good.
All right. Thank you so much. Your added 1 minute is up. Mr. Chiinda, let me come to you also speaking about the same means of production, but in this way, Socialist Party or socialism believes in owning the means to production. Is the only way a country can develop. Yeah. Now here we're talking about raw materials, depending on them, exporting them to developing nations so that they can at least, make whatever they're supposed to make out there. And with the belief of the Socialist Party, is raw materials also a way to go in the development of mother?
Yeah, thank you. I think what we need, we need to do away with capitalistic behavior, where you want to own the production. The only thing that you are providing to the country is just employment, but then it's just a fraction of the people that are employed in those production that are owned by these capitalists. What we need basically is to own our own production. For how long are we going to have to be hearing about copper when we don't have not even a mine as Zambians? We are known to be a copper producing country, but we don't have any production, any mine to be proud of any production. At the moment, copper prices at the record high at the moment because of obviously electric cars that Europe are making, and these other countries that are making those electric cars. So copper will be at a record high and will continue going up. But as Zambians, we need to look at what can we do to benefit from our copper. Are we only going to depend on the taxes? Are we only going to depend on the jobs? And then these people, the so-called investors that are in our mining sector, all they do is just blackmail government. When government tries to put in, let's say, windfall tax, they will tell government that we are making losses and we are going to lay off workers. And there's no government that would be happy, that would be very happy to see to it that a lot of the workers will be laid off. So they are forced to sit on the table and negotiate so that those workers are maintained. But for how long are we going to do that? I think as Zambians, it is now time that we need to own at least 1 or 2 mines. What former president did, Edgar Lungu, started, it was a good thing that they started, a mining company which was sold cheaply, and a mining company that for 20 years only declared losses. I think it was time for us to get that mine so that we can run it ourselves as Zambians. I remember that even in this new government, the Minister of Mines himself, he was on the floor of Parliament, saying that from the time that the mine was in the hands of the Zambian people, the production actually increased. And for me, I was very happy because there was this notion where we were saying that Zambians cannot run a mine. In 1991, our governments were advised by the capitalists or the IMF that government is not supposed to do business. But that killed us. Look at how many companies that we lost in the process. If we had those companies, the Mansa batteries, if we had the Mansa batteries, if we had the motor assembly, if we had all those companies, all we needed to do is just to improve so that we start running those companies on ourselves. And the Socialist Party, we are looking at how we can establish those productions on our own. The other thing that has also let us down is of course, the education sector. My brother, James Banda there, has said it, that the education system has not helped us so much. What has happened is that we are just producing paper graduates. We are not producing practical graduates. So this is why we've seen that even in the School of Mines, we have so many people, so many graduates, so many of our people that have graduated from there, but none of them is running a mine that we can talk about. So where is that knowledge gone to? Where are they? As for us, and this is why when we go back to talk about the economic or economy itself, it's an action in the production of goods and services. And then we have the services that we're talking about. It's the labor, the expertise. But where are our people that have been graduating from University of Zambia and also Copperbelt University? Where have they taken that knowledge? Is that knowledge supposed to be used just to go and look for employment? I think we can do better as Zambians. For us, we are advocating that Zambians must own their production, and these things that we are learning from school must be put into practice so that we can develop this country. There's history from China. When China was just developing, what China did was that they didn't have money, the money to pay all the people in China, all the young people in China. All they did was to ask them to go for work, and the government was looking after. That's why Chanoda complain. Now time is in the fast.
You have an encyclopedia of information. Unfortunately, you each only have 5 minutes to at least make a comment or react to our motion on the table. Yeah, for you to react to the motion on the table. And of course, thank you so much for everything. Now, let's get to look at a few comments that have come in. And then we also get to allow one caller in the studio as we'll be coming, as we are coming close to the end of the program. Let's take a look at comments that have come through. Director, okay, watching you from Chikankata. This is Muviana. Thank you so much, Muviana. Sojabu is watching Ubuntu. Okay, watching Ubuntu. Thank you so much, Sojabu. Mulungu Jerome watching from Lusaka. Walia following. Okay, thank you. Emmanuel Nkonika following as well. And okay, let's get to. All right, Walia says interesting topic, very insightful. All right, thank you so much, Walia. Lawrence Mulungu says, how can we make the FISI program better? Because in its current state, we seem to be spending money on same people every year, and they don't seem to develop at all. Very good concern right there, and a very productive question. Enoch says, I love the unity and objectivity of panelists, despite different political parties, but raising serious points. Thank you so much, Tonga Enoch, for coming through. All right, let's get to allow Nyachisengu in the studio, and then on the other side, we get to wrap up with one last motion that we have on the plate. Good evening, Nyatsengo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for allowing me to come into the studio. And gentlemen, you're absolutely amazing. You know, it's great to listen to all your comments. Like somebody else said there, you know, you're all coming from different political parties, but, you know, when you're in the studio, you actually are, you know, acting like Zambians, responsible citizens, which is a fantastic thing. I want to come in here with a few comments. Maybe I would say, somebody said, can Zambians, us as Zambians, can we actually change the world? I think my answer would be, I'll emulate President Obama, and I'll say, is federalin. That's an Irish word for saying, yes, we can. Is federalin. And I think we can. With people like you guys sitting in the studio, with the same mindsets that you have, if we put them together, I think Zambia can be a very rich country. We've got all the natural resources. You've all been talking about stopping to import things and start exporting things. I'm thinking we might be a little bit, that time is not there yet. We still need these investors, but when the investors come into our country, I think they need to get the same share as we do, as Zambians do. They're not. Hello. Sorry.
You need to wind up, Nyatsengo.
Okay. In short, what I'm trying to say is that if South Korea, which was once a recipient of aid, is able to be a donor now, why can't Zambia? Why can't Zambia do it? Agriculture is the main thing that we have now remaining in Zambia. And also, of course, we've got a lot of minerals. Somebody talked about gold and diamonds. Those are some of the things that we talked about, starting to export, maybe even having our own refineries, making the finished products and be able to export those things. That's what's going to make us money. What else do I have here? Somebody else talked about the curriculum and education. What are we teaching the children in school? I think, what model can we emulate? What can we bring? Like, I can give you an example. I was taught about, we all did learn about, North America. We learned about the prairie provinces and all that. For somebody who's not going to leave the country, what's that got to do with them? You know what I mean? Why do we need to teach them that? Why can't we teach them something that's closer to home, something that's going to get them a job? We've got a lot of people that are well educated that have left Zambia. I wonder, is this time for the president to try and, bring those people back into the country and see if we can put them to good use? I'm one of them that might be interested in coming back. Who knows? Ireland did it. They made sure that all their students had very good education. They introduced free education, like Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has done, and they all left the country. But at some stage, I think in the year 2000, they tried to entice everybody to come back. Most of the people did come back, and Ireland at one time, which was a very poor country, became quite rich. So we can do it. East Federalin. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, panelists, one last motion. We only have about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So each 5 minutes, and then we get to wrap up. One last motion that we have on the table. Is it possible for Zambia to switch from agricultural to an industrial economy? Can we industrialize Zambia if Zambia is to develop? Is it possible? And is industrializing Zambia another way to develop in Zambia? Let me start with Comrade Chiinda.
Yeah, okay. Yes, it is possible. Yes, very, very possible that we can create more industries. Actually, what Socialist Party or Socialist government is seeking to establish is to establish many production industries. We want industries, more and more industries to be established in our country. The investment, yes, we need investors from outside, but just like the caller was saying, is that we need these investors to partner with Zambians. You can't go to South Africa wanting to do something there without partnering with the South African. I think we need to bring that in our country. And the Socialist Party, we are looking at doing that, because as socialists, we are looking at the local solutions or local resource mobilization. We are looking at how do we find solutions to our challenges that we are faced with for a long time. I'm giving examples of before 1991 under KK. We had a lot of companies. The only problem that was there is that we had so nice conditions of services. Zambia Airways was viable, but at that particular time, the employees of Zambia Airways were allowed to go to the UK when they are off, and the entire flight for Zambia Airways, half of it was the employees. So it was making loss, and we were not able to see that. Also ZCCM, I think ZCCM also Shmine in the Copper Belt, they can tell you a story that I think the only problem was that the conditions were too nice, and then they never looked at how the population was growing. But now we need to look at what you put in is how much you put in, that is how much you get from there. So our industries, we need to create industries. We need to have a lot of production industries. We also need to change something in our education sector, in our education system, so that our education now starts giving us skills. Our education starts producing practical graduates, not paper graduates, because paper graduates has been like an entry point for you just to get a job. But now we want our Zambian people to, when you're coming from school, you even feel like you can do everything. You can even stand on your own. We want our people to be standing on their own. They can survive anywhere they go. I have visited a country where the government advertises jobs in the print media, but people are not applying for those jobs because they want to work on their own. We want our country to reach that stage where people will be more focused on producing their own things. You can never be rich in getting a salary. And the socialists, we want to create billionaires through these industries that we seek to establish. We want to support our Zambian people. We want to support hardworking citizens. We want to have policies such as, like a good policy that was left, that all gold mined in Zambia must be given value addition into bullion form and stored at Bank of Zambia, and at some stage offload it on the international market so that we can get more exchange, more foreign exchange. We want similar projects like that. We want local projects like that, because ine kuno kumunali nikankana ndalama ni spending ndalama zanga muri bantu akumunali wena pasako muja na hivi kuseni aendako ku market and gulako ma vegetables ku market. So when our people in this country have so much money, there will be a lot of that money will be circulating within this country and will develop this country. So when we have a lot of economic viable production industries in this country, we're going to have a lot of money in circulation, and we can develop this country. We can even do the roads using our own monies that we are raising from our country. But the only thing that we don't want now is that, yes, as much as we want the investors, but there are certain industries, production industries, that we need to own them ourselves as Zambians. So for that, I think we are looking at how can we improve Zambia, and the solution is with us. So Zambia will be developed by us, the Zambian people, and the good policies that we can put in, so that our money, our profit is not externalized. Our money must be spent here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ngwira, Mr. Banda, I would love to end with you. Mr. Ngwira, Zambia must be industrialized if we are to see development.
I'll be honest with you. We cannot talk about industries without, the main players in making industries be viable. We cannot be talking about industries without the resource, to run those industries. The resource starts, with human resource, which needs to actually, have, some knowledge, which brings in, education. How is our education, system? How is our curriculum? Are we still learning about thorax? Are we still learning about skeletal? Are we still learning about, how many body parts has a fly got and all that? So those are the things that we need to look at. I think we need to also start looking at changing our curriculum in the sense that we must look at entrepreneur-based, lessons. We need to look at, technical-based, lessons that we give to our kids. Then coming to the issue of industries themselves, industrialization brings about, production. We'll become a producer. We'll become a productive country. We'll become a country that will have, value addition to whatever it is. But then, build industries, then what? So we cannot get rid of one agriculture. We can't get rid of mining. We can't get rid of, all these things. They have to be there so that they help us realize the potential in industrialization. Because, for instance, I'll tell you about maize. We've got quite a number of milling plants that are around this country, but we can go further. I'm happy that President Lungu indeed brought in policies like having ZNS. I'm happy now they are producing, mini meal and all that. They brought the idea of those solar milling plants, mini plants and all that. It starts from there. So we need to really get into, first of all, empowering our people with knowledge on how, we can help to make them realize that we can actually be independent. There was a question that someone asked to say, how do we, help with FISIP? I'm still in the same line of thought. I think it is the work of these district agriculture officers, DACOs, to make sure that if a member of the society has been given fertilizer, they have put it in use. And actually, when Comrade James Banda came on the show, I remember one time we shared one transport when we were coming from Eastern Province. He was coming from a farm. And I was just thinking to say, I think this year has come for us to do something in Nyimba, in his district, where we can do one or two things. He has got a lot of land there. I don't have to travel all the way to Chasef to go and, cultivate. So once that is done, then we get that product and bring to, Chiinda and associates industry, to add value. Whether it's sunflower, you guide it into, cooking oil. We have, minerals that can bring us quite a number of things. We can depend on our own, on ourselves. What do we need? We need political will, Lance. We need politicians to have, the love of Zambia. We need politicians to have the heart, for the people that bring us into these offices. It must not be business as usual. And we must also run away from this mentality of saying we can't do it unless a Chinese come and do it for us, unless a white man comes to come and do it for us. Come on, guys, let's retire from such mentality. We can do it ourselves. Are you telling me that if today you buy Chigayo for Comrade James Banda, who is quite industrious, he cannot run it? He will definitely run it whilst I'm doing my politics. I know that James Banda, as he's doing his songs in the studio, Kumbali, but uku, nishimundu agaya miris. So we need to, stop depending. Some of these things, people are making bread, are Chinese. You mean we can't make bread? If it ngapange bread kuchoka pa oven chikonda moyo tipanga bwino from oven yokum, why don't we just put in some techniques and all that and bring it to be at a larger scale? So we have got our own people that can do those things. So the moment we realize that, the better for this country. The moment we realize that, the better for, this is the reason why we have got people like James Banda wanting to join politics, because all we do is nothing but politicking and politicking and politicking. So please, let's
your time
stop
is up, Mr. Ngwira. Thank
Next
you
time,
so much.
10 or 15 minutes.
No, that is very much noted. We'll work on that. Mr. Banda, I want to end with you in this way. If Zambia gets industrialized, this means that there wouldn't be need for raw materials to be exported, but Zambia will be producing everything on its own. Industrialization is a way to go for Zambia to develop. Your take.
Well, yes. First of all, I want to start it to end like this. The mindset, our minds, first of all, have to be developed themselves. What do we think? And what do we feel? Who do we think we are? And what are we as a Zambian? What are we capable of doing? What are we capable of producing to the world? These are questions that can be answered. And it's very unfortunate that I've heard echoes in the political realm where politicians are saying Zambians can't run mines, which is a very unfortunate situation for our leaders to think that Zambians are not capable of doing anything, but other people who are going to come from somewhere else are going to help Zambians do something for themselves. They are rendering us Zambians as workers, not as owners of these particular industries or manufacturing companies or whatever is there that is producing value-added products and for export. Now, the mining industry and the agriculture sector are the pinnacle of the Zambian economy, and these can fit into the industrialization of this particular country. And this can only happen if the education moves with it. I remember some times ago when we were in schools, Yawakaunda school, we would go to school to learn how to make desks, to learn how to weld, to learn how to play ngoma, for example. The creative aspect of education in our education system has just been erased off. If you erase the creative aspect of a person's mind or a society's mind, you've rendered those people to be like robots and robotics, because then they'll need people to come and make them work, because their memories, their minds only memorize. They are not creative, they are not innovative. So we need to move this the education system into the aspect of the creatives, which is the TVET, and move along with the academics. Okay, so now the industrialization of Zambia will only start from there. So how can you industrialize a country where the mindset of the people or the skill set does not allow for it to be industrialized? Where are you going to get the manpower from? I had an opportunity to visit one of the companies or value addition companies, which is exporting a number of goods from Zambia, from raw materials. And the Zambians had to be taken to China to go and be trained there to come and work here in Zambia. So we need to seriously look at the base and look at how we can now move coherently with everything, the education system together with the mindset that we saw really need to change in the way we look at ourselves as Zambians. And yes, it is the way to go, industrialization, but it cannot happen if we do not start from the bottom, where the mindset and the education system moves together for our people to benefit from the raw materials that we have. Yes, we need to own these mines. Cooperatives can own mines. Hospitals and hospitality industries in developed countries are owned by cooperatives. These cooperatives have the know-how to run cooperatives. We need to seriously look at that also, because that is also another chain or way which will create innovation and actually help this country to industrialize. Because we seem to be looking at, we don't have the capital. The cooperatives are formed in order to come up with the capital to delve into a business and make money from there and empower the local people or empower ourselves. So it is only the Zambians who can empower themselves, who can create wealth for themselves, because the foreign direct investors, their interest is in the profits and giving Zambians a little that they can survive on.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banda. Now, as we are ending the debate, I will give each of you at least a minute. I don't know if it's to make an appeal or to summarize everything that we have discussed on this particular forum. How can Zambia develop? Just a minute each. You're already on the screen, Mr. Banda. You go first.
Yes, please. So my appeal, this I emphasize, if we do not sort our education system, if we don't sort ourselves up skills-wise in the minds, if we don't sort out our mindset to development, we will not develop. We will only be making money for foreign direct investors and remain with nothing, remain with holes in the ground without anything to point at. Our copper and all our minerals will be going outside Zambia. Our timber will be going, and we'll have nothing at the end of the day to point at, because we don't have the skill set which will make a grade 12 lever to go and stand on their own 2 feet and start making furniture and begin to sell and consequently grow their businesses, because they would have learned entrepreneurship lessons in classes in school. They would be empowered to make Zambia great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ngwira, under 1 minute, or in 1 minute, you can summarize your points. How can Zambia develop?
Well, I think also make an appeal to the UPND government. They are the people that are in the driving seat now. I think let's, stop the issue of politics. Let's, get together as a nation. Let's stop this, imperialism, slavery. Let's stop, being slaves of, these foreign investors, even on things that we know we can do it. Let's also change, let's get back to issues of production units in schools, technical drawing, if at all it's going to be helpful, and all those other, lessons that we used to learn. We need to prepare our mindset. We need to tell ourselves that we can do it, and we can only do that once, like James has said, when our mindset is changed. Otherwise, we can do it as Zambia and as politicians. Once we change our mindset, then we are good to go. Otherwise, thank you very much, Ubuntu, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ngwira. Comrade Chiinda, under a minute, you can summarize your points. How can Zambia develop?
Yeah, so we have to go back to our drawing board. I think KK laid the foundation for us. Many people are mistaken, or they have that misconception that maybe KK was a socialist. KK was never a socialist, and this government, this Zambia has never been in the hands of the socialist. KK was a communist, and that for us, we want to bring in socialists, because socialist is for the people. It's looking at how are we going to work together with the people, how are we going to find local solutions for our people, how are we going to do or handle or own our own productions so that we can develop this country. This country will only develop by us Zambians, and us Zambians, we need to be united. And Socialist Party is here to stay. Now there's a defining moment between, it's either you are a capitalist or a socialist. Socialist is for the people. So I'm urging the Zambian people to support the Socialist Party.
Thank you so much,
Support the
Comrade
Patriotic
Chiinda.
brand, not the Socialist, but PF is the way to go. Let's get back to the drawing board. Chiinda, whatever, PF at heart.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, panelists, and of course, thank you so much to our viewers. Remember that empowerment of people takes development much ahead of simply combating or ameliorating poverty. Now, in this sense, development seeks to restore or enhance basic human capabilities and freedoms, and also enables people to be the agents of their own development. This is Ubuntu Debate Time, which comes your way every Tuesdays at 21 hours, as we get to bring to you people from different walks of life to bring through their divergent views, but of course in oneness to see that we foster development of the country. I have been your host, Lance Sani Banda, and of course, my panelist today consisted of James Banda, who is Nkani Zanga director. Also, we had Chrispin Chiinda, who is a Socialist Party member of. Okay, I can only remember mobilization. You can help with that, Comrade Chiinda.
I'm a member of National Executive Council.
National Executive Council in charge of mobilization.
Socialist
Then, of
Party,
course,
yeah.
not forgetting Mr. Chanoda Ngwira, who is a Patriotic Front member. Now, do join us again on Tuesday at 21 hours as we bring to you another interesting set of panelists. But do not forget to also join us again tomorrow as we bring to you Meet Your Leaders. In tomorrow's guest, we have Tabo Kawana as we get to discuss the UPND's 11 months in power. Thank you so much. Good evening and have a blessed one.